I'd like us to cross over to Meru, where the body of a 9-year-old primary school pupil who went missing early this month has been found at Gitoro Forest. Maribel Kapolon, a student at Consolata Primary School.
A post-mortem conducted on the body of a 9-year-old Maribel Kapolon shows a young girl suffered multiple head fractures and injuries to her face, meaning that she was hit on the head several times.
September 6, 2018, Meru town, 5 p.m. A school bus pulls up near a petrol station on the Meru-Makatano road. Children spill out, chattering, backpacks swinging. Among them is a 9-year-old girl in a Consolata primary school uniform. Her name is Maribel Kapolon. She is not worried when a familiar face calls out to her by name. She knows this man. Her mother once loved this man. She will not make it home tonight. She will not make it home for 11 nights. When she is finally found, it will not be in her mother's arms. It will be in a forest, wrapped in silence. 11 days after she vanished from a petrol station her family thought was safe. This is the story of Maribel Kapolon and the truth Kenya was never fully told. To understand what happened to Maribel, you have to understand who her mother was. Caroline Kimi was not an ordinary parent. She was a senior resident magistrate, presiding over Githongo law courts 15 kilometers from Meru town. A woman of the law. A woman who every day sat in judgment of people accused of the very crimes that would soon consume her own life. Maribel was her only daughter. Bright, known to her classmates, and known too to a man her mother once called a partner, a former prison warden named Benson Kimathi Marangu. Kame and Kimathi had once been together. He worked in Kangeda. She served as resident magistrate in Mawa. Their relationship ended, but not cleanly. And Maribel, a child who had grown used to calling this man uncle, became an unknowing bridge between two adults whose relationship had already collapsed. He used to pick her up from school. It was routine. It was, investigators would later say, exactly why nobody thought to worry when he pulled up beside her that afternoon.
Alikuwa ina hari. So nikamuuliza uko na haraka ya nini? Kaniambia Uncle Kim ako nje. Amenileta na gari mpaka kwa gate na anataka maji ya kukunywa.
By 6:30 p.m. on September 6th, Maribel had not come home. Her family began to search. They retraced her route. Her schoolmates confirmed the detail that would haunt this case. A man had called her by name near the petrol station, and she had gone to him without hesitation. Days passed. No word, no sign. Then came a phone call offering false hope, and a second criminal in this story. A man named Francis Otundo contacted the Kapolon family, claiming to know where Maribel was. His price for her return? 500,000 shillings. For a grieving mother, it felt like a lifeline. For investigators, it would prove to be something else. A scavenger circling a tragedy that had nothing to do with him. Otundo had no idea where Maribel was. He was not part of her abduction. He was a man who saw a magistrate suffering and tried to profit from it. The real answer to where Maribel was would not come from a ransom call. It would come from Gitoro Forest. September 16th, 2018, 11 days since she vanished. A member of the public walking near a large Meru oak inside Gitoro Forest in Upper Amenti found her. A child's body, still in her Consolata primary school uniform. It was Maribel. The discovery tore through Meru overnight. Chief Justice David Moraga issued a public statement demanding speedy investigations. Women's rights organizations, Ripples International, CREA, organized demonstrations in Meru. Women marched to the county commissioner's office, petition in hand, demanding justice for a 9-year-old girl whose only mistake was trusting a man her mother once trusted too. The post-mortem was conducted at Meru Level 5 Hospital, a 4-hour examination by 3 pathologists, 2 for the government, 1 for the family, so nothing could be hidden. Maribel had suffered multiple head fractures and severe facial injuries. She had died from internal bleeding caused by repeated blows. There was no ambiguity in what the doctors found. This was not an accident. This was a killing. Within days, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations zeroed in on their prime suspect, Benson Kimathi Morangu. He was not a stranger who snatched a child off the street. He was a former prison warden, close enough to this family that a 9-year-old girl called him family. Maribel's schoolmates identified him, the uncle who called her name near the petrol station and led her away without a struggle, without a scream, without anyone thinking twice. Investigators say the motive traced back to a bitter, unresolved breakup between Kimathi and Caroline Kimi, a relationship that had ended for the adults, but never truly ended for the child caught in the middle of it. DCI detectives tracked his movements and pulled his fingerprints, building the case that would become Kenya's most talked about child murder trial of 2018. Because Maribel's mother was a magistrate, serving under the same court system that would have to try this case, the proceedings couldn't stay in Meru. Justice George Mabea ruled that trying it locally would compromise both the appearance and substance of justice. The case moved to Chuka High Court in neighboring Tharaka Nithi County. Both suspects were ordered to undergo mental assessment before entering a plea. What followed was not a quick reckoning. It was a 4-year wait. From 2018 to 2022, the Kapolon family lived in suspended grief, attending hearings, waiting for a court to say, formally and legally, what had happened to their daughter. On October 24, 2022, Chuka High Court Judge Lucy Gitari delivered her verdict. The evidence, she said, proved beyond reasonable doubt that Benson Kimathi Morangu murdered 9-year-old Maribel Kapolon after his relationship with her mother collapsed. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Francis Otundo, the man who exploited the family's agony with a ransom he had no ability to fulfill, was found not to have participated in the killing itself. The court called him an opportunist, not a murderer. He received a far shorter sentence tied to the extortion attempt, and having already served time awaiting trial, was released. 2 very different men, 2 very different roles in the same nightmare. So what is the hidden truth of Maribel Kapolon's death? It isn't a conspiracy. It isn't a cover-up by powerful people. The hidden truth is something far more uncomfortable and far more common than Kenya wants to admit. Maribel wasn't taken by a stranger lurking in the shadows. She was taken by someone close enough to be called family, someone her routine trusted, someone her mother's own history had placed inside the walls of safe. That is the truth this case points to. The greatest danger to a child is very often not the unknown man on the street, but the known man who has already earned a place in her world. Caroline Kimi spent her career deciding the fates of people accused of crimes. She could not have known that her own past would one day sit in front of a different judge, answering for the life of her only daughter. Benson Kimathi Morangu is serving 40 years behind bars for what he did in Gitoro Forest. Maribel Kapolon would be a teenager today, finishing secondary school, dreaming about a future taken from her at 9 years old by a man who once called himself family. If this case moved you, if it made you angry, if it made you hold the children in your life a little closer tonight, that's exactly why we tell these stories. Subscribe to Kenya Documents, because the truth deserves to be remembered, even when it's hard to hear.
When you hit her, when you broke her legs and you did whatever you did, were you satisfied? Did you go and celebrate after that? Had Maribel done anything wrong to you for her to deserve that? Did the cries of my child never reach you? Wherever you are, you will never have peace. You will never have peace. In the name of Jesus, you will never see peace.